talk to me about this thing BTUs. I mean, I hear it all the time. What BTU? Make sense of it for me.
Yeah, BTUs is really just the terminology used. British thermal units is what it's known as.
Okay.
But basically, that's how they rate the power of the burner and its output.
Okay.
So it's just the simplicity of market terminology for burner output.
Okay. So let me ask you this. So I have an old range. It's a basic range, a clock in the rear, and it's been fine. But I want to get one of these. What might I have for power now? So this was a pretty good range, but it's 5 years, 10 years, 15 years old. Comparatively, am I getting a lot more power here?
Comparatively to some older ranges that are 10, 15 years old, yes, you would.
Okay.
Those were limited to a certain extent with regards to power and output. Nowadays in these professional ranges and trying to simulate that commercial type application for your home, they can range up as high as 20, 23,000 BTUs with certain brands, which is a lot of power for residential type use.
Okay. Yeah, we were talking earlier, and we were talking about maybe old BTU output, and you were saying maybe an average range had 8,000 BTU. So if I understand it correctly, what's the industry standard to make something pro? What is that BTU output? Is there a number?
Not to say that there's so much a number. Typically in the professional ranges, you'll start seeing 15, 18, 20,000. 20,000 kind of being that average for professional output. Okay. But yeah, it's
so a lot of heat.
Correct.
But is it safe to say that still I can go crazy chasing BTUs, and at a certain point, these are all going to boil really fast and still simmer really low? Is that true?
That's exactly true.
All right, great. Right. Let me ask you this. Open versus sealed burners. That's another thing I've had some questions about. Can you elaborate there?
Typically, the open burners, because of oxygen flow and having the openness around that burner, those are typically going to be your higher performance ranges. Okay. The nice thing about some of those open burners is that they're pretty easy to clean, in that you can take apart piece by piece, take it over to your sink, clean them accordingly, clean the range, and obviously piece it back together. Okay. A sealed burner, basically everything is sealed within the range top itself, so you're not going to get necessarily any overflow to the compartment below. So your cleaning from that aspect would necessarily be done at the range itself versus being able to take it apart like the open range and take it to the sink.
So it sounds like a couple of things to consider. Do you really want to clean here at the surface and not have to worry about breaking down the range or taking parts off? Or do I want that flexibility of taking some of those parts off and maybe bringing it to the sink to clean? As well, that would give me some flexibility to replace some of those parts if they get worn over time to make the top look new. Yes. And as well, there is some benefit to an open flame. Correct. All that being said, I understand that sealed burners still, because again, at a certain point, these have so much power and high to low that for 99% of us, probably a sealed burner still makes sense. You see more sealed burners sold, is that true?
That's correct. That's about the average. 99% of the clients do tend to go to the sealed burner application, really just for the simplicity of, being able to clean there and not necessarily having the penetration of any overflow down below to the lower level.